What is up, tuners? Welcome back to the internet's #1 performance and tuning live show on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock. Shot out of Pittsburgh in my office. That means it's true, because it's the only live show being shot out of Pittsburgh in my office. Listen, guys, I am exhausted. I've been behind a chainsaw all day, so if I sound like an idiot at some point in time today, just know that's why. And I gotta tell my wife I love her. So if you don't tell your wife you love her enough, you better get on it. So let's go ahead and jump right in here and talk. Well, I got to do the shout out to the new patrons. Got quite a few new patrons from last time. We got the two Nicks, Adam, Lewis, Jesse, Colton, and then we got 3 expert tuners, Lucas, Cy, and Blake. Thank you, everybody, for signing up for the Patreon. What is going on? We've got a crowd. We're up to 21 right off the bat. That's what I like to see. I hope you guys liked the latest video where we looked at these complicated Ford things. They're not that complicated. I'm anxious. Some people sent some tunes over and some logs. I need to email them back and make sure it's all right if I go ahead and use those things on the channel, but I would like to dive into looking at how the tunes and logs work. And of course, for you Mopar people, if there's anybody out there, we'll do some Mopar stuff too. But let's see, we got Nick 386, Josh, Global Media, Blue Fox, David C, John, VJ, Josh T, Frank, Ross. Man, we got all the regulars in here. Hey guys, what is going on? I saw TJ on there earlier. Yeah, I've got like 2 acres of property out here, and it's just covered in trees. And tell you what, and then I've got an easement going right through the middle of the property that's washing out. It's a city sewer easement or storm drain easement, so I'm trying to clean it up. I got the city coming over tomorrow to see if they're going to fix it. Blah. Good to hear that, Global. I enjoyed it. It's interesting to see what carries over and is kind of the same in between different platforms. And there's some pretty cool stuff on there. So, hey Smith, what's going on, brother? Exactly, TJ. Sup? It's good to see you again. It's cool though, because there were some really interesting ways that the Ford stuff that totally makes sense, and but you saw all those tables. If you watched the video, you saw all those tables. There's something else that happened. Oh, hey, we broke 5,000 this week. In fact, we broke 5,100 today already. So, well, welcome back, Dirt Floor. John's been swapping in a 5.3 in my old Silverado. Of course, John. Cam Springs, all that stuff. Yeah, we broke 5,000, guys. Congratulations, and thank you. Congratulations to you guys. You're the reason that we broke 5,000. Then, of course, we launched our little, speaking of which, our little, what do they call it? Not necessarily a crowdfunding thing for the Project 4 car. In fact, SS8 is one of our very first donors. Thank you, SS8. I appreciate that. Here, what do we do this? Boom. There's the website. Sup, I haven't looked for it yet. Hey, Tony. Welcome back, man. But I will dive into that stuff and figure that out. Oh, thanks, Global Media. I appreciate it. Yeah, hit that like button. Maybe we'll get some outsiders in here. Not that I don't like you guys. Not that I don't like my regular Thursday crowd. This is the thing I look forward to every week. In fact, this week felt like it went really, really slow. And I'm always anxious to get to Thursday night because it's, Thursday night's here. Tomorrow's Friday. Time to grab some beers. Bill is about to start on his buddy's 06 F-150 with the 4.6. It's way different from what I'm used to. Yeah, you'll find some parallels in there, Bill, though. Straight dumb. Is that how you're supposed to say your name? Straight dumb? He says, hey, on the Gen 5, what's your general thought about tuning the driver demand tables? Do you mess with the negative values? The negative values on there you can bring up. I like to adjust the top, not the top, which would be the bottom of the table, the top end of the driver demand. I like to adjust those by percentages, but as you get down into the lower parts of the table, which is actually the top of the table, percentages don't work as much because the numbers get really small. Then they get negative, and adding percentages to negatives obviously will make the values go larger towards the negative size. So because of that, I will generally add to those. But honestly, that portion of the driver demand table is less critical than the bottom about 5 rows whenever you're talking about 60% throttle beyond that on the Gen 5s. That's where you will start fighting the throttle body and timing based on where the power's at. What up, Gio? Hey, TT Mustang, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you for liking the content and subscribing. Saw some of your comments out there. Stick around. We're going to get into some more Mustang stuff. RC, I did not. If it was posted before I got in here, man, I'm not going to be able to scroll back up. So if you wouldn't mind posting it back in there. Hey, no worries, David. Thanks for stopping by. Hey, Nick, no worries, man. Glad it worked out for you. That's a good question. And Nick was having some issues with bumping off the rev limiter, and I helped him get it sorted out. Harry Johnson, as it were. I don't call him by his nickname here because I feel kind of dumb saying Harry Johnson on my stream all night long. Nick, and there's the other Nick, was bumping off the rev limiter on his car, and so we went in, looked at it, and basically you get to a point where you start making too much power, and the vehicle cannot shift fast enough on the stock shift points, and so you have to just nudge them down a little bit. And so there is an RPM in a mile per hour table, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but the one of those requires both. So I believe the RPM table will always shift, but the mile an hour table may require the mile an hour and the RPM table, so it's kind of redundant, but we adjust both down, and then you can go back in and log and see which one's causing the shift and tailor those out. But honestly, things are happening so fast at that speed that it's not usually that big of an ordeal. You just want to nudge those things down until you're not banging off the red limiter again. What's going on, Chris? Hey, Josh, what's going on? TJ is in the garage listening. Perfect. Yeah, crank it up. Go back to work. Put your headers and Y pipes on. You're not going to miss too much on the screen. Need a man trans. I know. Well, I'm surprised Tony's not on here. Tony from Animal Transmissions floats around every once in a while, and I was looking at some of his transmission build stuff the other day, and he's got some 1,200 horsepower trans down there that it's like, yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd like to jerk the 6-speed out of the truck and put a TH400 in there or something. I'm not going to. I'm not going to, though. John, you got caught. So, Nick says, I have an issue where I run in manual auto and then put it in full auto and it'll stay in second gear. I've not heard of that happening. So you're going into manual mode, then whenever you go back into auto mode, it's not shifting properly, Nick. Do me a favor and send me your latest tune, Nick, so I can look at that and see if anything stands out as to maybe why that would be happening. But there's probably a... probably something happening. I don't know. Sorry, as I said, I'm tired, guys. Ross, that's great to hear. Glad to hear that you found some leaks. That makes sense as to what you were seeing on that stuff. So, oh, Blake, yeah, hey, there's Blake. Glad you made it, man. I was just talking about you. Yeah, twin turbo, that's about right. Based on how much boost you're running, you're going to have to dial it back a little bit. I generally, though, about like everything else, I'll try and push Try and push the timing out till I see a little bit of knock and then drop it back a couple degrees. That's weird, Nick. I've not seen that happen before. Yeah. Tony, I got a question on an 06 2500 6 liter. Is it normal when it hits a cell the first time in MAF or VE that it'll be like 5 lean, then it hits again, it starts going 0 to -1 rich? That's why we use filtering, Tony, is to make sure that we get enough cell hits in there that something like that doesn't happen. There's some weird stuff that will that'll do stuff like that. So I wouldn't think too much about it as long as it lines out and starts reading properly. Yeah, no worries, Blake. Yeah, I promise you I will not. And then are you on the schedule for tomorrow or Saturday, Blake? Surely not on a 99, Josh. All right, 2019. It's a brand new car. I don't know enough about the auto mode on the new generation Camaros, Nick, to tell you what's going on as far as that goes. But it's getting out. Okay, whenever you say that you're putting it in manual to stay in first, then you're jamming it over. What channel should I add to watch the trans? Well, the question is it commanding the shift and you're just getting there before it can actually shift? So, I'll have to get back to you on that, Nick. Let me do some digging. Nah, you're good. You're good, Blake. It's on there. I love that it flagged you for yeah, Chris got a good point. Watch commanded gear and actual gear also. Oh, thank you, Dirt Floor. Yeah, you're not doing it right unless you blast the warranty off. You know, I walked into the dealership whenever I bought my C6, bought it off the showroom floor. Took it straight to the house, plugged HP tuners into it. Well, actually, I took it straight to the drag strip. And I did a pull stock, and then I plugged HP tuners into it and took all the torque management out and did another pull and picked up 5/10. Tomorrow is not Saturday, Blake. Tomorrow is Friday. What up, Zero? Tony, yeah, your short terms can still toggle if the long terms are off. They're not doing anything, though. Chris, what's your trans shop? Do I lower? No, I do not zero out shift time. You don't necessarily want to zero out shift time because it can cause some wonky issues with the transmission trying to hit times. You need to keep those somewhat realistic and realize that you're going to get to a point where you've exceeded the ability of the hardware to actually command a shift and execute it. There's no reason to go beyond that. If you do, it's just you're going to cause yourself issues. Global, I have not heard that. That'll be interesting to see. Somebody's going to have to put something out here soon. Oh, James, you know what? I need to, I think I've got that on my list. I've just been busy, man. James asking about doing the calculation for Gen 4 to build VE for math. Math. It's still math. Brevered transmissions. Awesome. There you go, man. Nick, there should be a parameter in there that you can change that off. Yeah, Josh, I'll lower the shift time. There's nothing wrong with lowering the shift time. Just do it responsibly. Straight dumb. Does my Silverado have an upgraded drive shaft? Well, you know what? Mine had an upgraded drive shaft until I blew it up at 130 miles an hour. And so it still has the stock one in there now. And yes, they do have a critical speed. If anybody tells you that, if you have a crew cab, you have a two-piece though. So yours is probably all right. It's the one pieces that were in the regular cabs and the extended cabs that have critical speeds. That's why the speed limiter is generally at like 99. Tony, what do you mean what's a good TPS percentage when tuning wide open throttle? Yes, Blake. Blake says if your injectors are scaled on flow versus pressure, that's because whenever you're under vacuum, the injectors will flow more than their rated flow rate. Because there's literally it's sucking fuel through them. You have pressure on the top side of the injector and you have a vacuum on the bottom side of the injector. What's going on, Shane? Awesome, man. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the garage. 08Z06. Gotta love that. John, I mean, if you'd have a way to balance it, go for it, brother. Just let me tell you that whenever you have a 4-inch aluminum drive shaft explode at 130 miles an hour, it scares the shit out of you. So, excuse my French. I'm not supposed to say that. Sorry. It scares the crap out of you. Yeah, Josh, I'm sure a mud truck's fine, but they're not doing 130 miles an hour. Nick, I've not had a chance to go to the drag strip. Honestly, it's not that I don't necessarily want to go to the drag strip. It's not that, but Nick, with LT1s being DI, what are the ideal AFRs in A? You know, with it being direct injected, you can go down to probably 0.9 lambda. Just watch your knock. Yeah, well, Nick, they can go leaner because you're injecting directly into the cylinder, which actually cools down the cylinder temps. John, have you tried to balance with hose clamps on a newer vehicle that is fly-by-wire because you can't hold the pedal steady? You just to get it up on jack stands and try and do it on jack stands. It's no fun. Hey, Adam. Yeah, you missed your shout out. Welcome to the live stream. Yeah, Blake, we're going to do a EcoBoost video here in the future. I've got access to one of the EcoBoost Mustangs. I got a sneaking suspicion that it already has a tune in it. Guy bought it. Actually, it was my father-in-law bought it, and I think it has a tune in it already, or has been tinkered with. I guess that's true, Josh. Yeah, because they're spinning it. But they're not out in, like, 5th gear, surely. I think you're probably better off dirt floor getting the Terminator X. That's the way I'd go if I were in your situation. 1182, Nick, on your car on 93 is way too damn rich. So think about closer maybe to 13 to 1. 12 and a half is the port injected in a AFR goal. So, Tony, are you asking about turning PE on at 40% throttle? It doesn't matter, Tony, because you're just changing your commanded. If you are doing error ratios off of a wideband, it doesn't matter where it's at. Yeah, 13 to 1's probably, you could probably even go a little bit leaner than 13 to 1 on a direct injected. Hey, everybody, remember, check out the link here. Go check out the crowdfund link. Consider joining. Remember, it's an all or nothing, so if we don't fund, you don't spend any money. Ported throttle body likely the cause on you running rich? No, shouldn't be. Yeah, I know, Blue Fox. I don't know what those things are supposed to run stock, though. I've not even dived into it any. So, yeah, see, Nick, all of those things would make you run lean, not rich. So something's wonky on going rich there. You just need a tune, probably. Yeah. We've broken 60 once before. We didn't break 60 last week. We broke 60 the week before, so we'll probably break 60 here. We're just getting started. We normally have some people roll in about the 30-minute mark. Yeah, Nick, you can do that. Just make sure that you carry it out. Man, Nick, I don't know. The only thing that I can think of is if the rotofab is not the same diameter as the stock cold air intake and it skewed your math. So, I would measure that. Jim Bob, no. Trans tuners are not required every time you do an engine mod. In fact, I adjusted my tran 2 years ago, and I've not touched it since. Kyle, you're logging the SAE throttle position. Don't log SAE. Look for one that is throttle position that's not SAE. SAE is going to be limited because it's a voltage scale thing. Oh, did you upgrade, Nick? Thanks, bud. I appreciate it. There's a couple slots left here at the end of the month. If you don't get in before October, though, since we've only got like a week left, though, you can carry that time over into October. So I'll get you an email out with all the details for signing up for the one-on-ones and a link to the calendar. Frank says, when tuning VE table after getting it dialed in or close, when would I add 2% to stay on the fat side before or after the coefficient? Before the coefficients. Shift the whole thing 2%, then do your coefficients, Frank. Because if you do 2 after the coefficients, you'll have to calculate the coefficients again, and there's a chance that it could skew your stuff again. James, on a boosted application, the best way to command PE is generally I like to bring it down a little bit, depending on if you're supercharged or turbo or pro-charged. You know, if it's centrifugal, something like that. I might let it get to the point where it's about to cross over into the boost, and then I'll start doing PE then. If it's something like a Roots, I will get into it a little bit sooner. About the worst things that you can do is, and I see this all the time for some reason, is people like commanding PE at like 2,000 RPMs on a naturally aspirated vehicle. I don't know why you would do that. You're robbing yourself of power. You know, there's the potential to make some extra torque through power enrichment, but it's honestly, I don't think that it's that beneficial. Gio, I've not messed with Toyota Tundra. I don't even know what it looks like as far as what the tune would look like. Blake, I don't know, man. Just off the top of my head, which platform the E78 is, but if anything from the factory that's non-boosted is only going to have a 1-bar map sensor, so you'll have to upgrade. It's just whether or not it has the built-in scaling, or you have to go through and do the OS patch. Tony, it just depends on what your load is, what your RPM is on some platforms. Every platform, listen, timing is very specific to the platform and mods that you have going on. 15 degrees does not sound like too much timing, but if it's a forced induction platform, you can definitely start running into knock. But if it's, there's situations that you could be getting some weird false knock. Generally, I only consider knock in wide open throttle stuff as to being real. If it's not happening in wide open throttle, I would be investigating whether or not it could be false or something. Sounds good, Nick. Yeah, James, that's what kind of I like to do, is get into PE as I'm getting into positive pressure. Because you have to think about the fact that whenever you're running naturally aspirated, you're basically going to atmospheric whenever you go full throttle, and it's still only kicking on it, like, depending on the platform, it may be 5,000 or 6,000 RPMs, but once you get above that, it's a good time. Hey, 325, welcome back, brother. Nick, you should be able to right click on it and go into your there should be the option to go in there and change your scaling or whatever. Shane, my low-end RPM driving is surging, but dyno pulls were great. Shane, what's your platform on? Yeah, Nick, I'm kind of the same way. I prefer forced induction over nitrous. Yeah, nitrous is addictive, and it's cheap to get going. And if it's done right, there's nothing wrong with it as long as you don't get carried away. Yeah, Nick, I run the beta version of HP Tuners. Just make sure anytime that you download a new version of HP Tuners that you go through and rescan for new stuff. No worries, Colton. Low end driving, Shane. Well, Shane, that's a tough question. Surging on the low end on an 08 Z06 could be about 1,000 different things. You've got to look at your timing. You need to look at your timing, make sure that it's not zigzagging. Look at your throttle position sensor, make sure that it's not fluttering. Look at your torque, your commanded versus your engine torque, and make sure that you're not maxing it out. There's a lot of things that could be causing that. Well, you're not doing a 200 shot whenever you're just driving around. Shouldn't be surging because you have a 200 shot of nitrous. It's probably because of cams. Most likely, if your cam was not tuned properly, it will cause issues, Shane. That's what I see a lot of the time is, for some reason, people, whenever they get a big cam put in, if it has any kind of overlap and it's kind of a lopey cam, people like to go in and add torque in the bottom end. That's not how it works, man. Nick, whenever I'm trying to drive around and get ones, that is for EQ error ratio. I'm trying to get as close. What up, Lynn Twin? Thank you for subscribing. Awesome, man. LS Swap, Stock Computers, HP Tuners, going to give it a go. Well, let us know if you have any questions. That's what we're here for. Yeah, Tony, that's probably false knock then. I think somebody was saying... Yeah, Tony was saying... Our Smith was having... Yeah, false knock. I'm having a hard time following all this stuff. Hey, we hit 60, everybody. Give yourselves a pat on the back. Yeah, Nick saw it. Yeah, that's pulling out quite a bit of fuel. As I said, Nick, you're running really rich. -10 is a lot. You should be... You need a tune. If you're more than -5, you need a tune. Man, it's always a good night when we break 60, right, gents? And ladies, if there's any ladies watching. You're right, Josh. I've been roping my wife into some of it. Lynn, yeah, we live stream every Thursday at 8. That is the set in stone, scheduled live stream time. And then there is a chance that I will do a live stream on the weekends, Friday or Saturday night, depending on if my wife is working and the beer's flowing. That one you just kind of have to subscribe and turn on notifications. That way you know whenever it pops up. There you go. Nick, you ain't stock, man. You got rotofabs and a ported throttle body and a axle bag. I'm drinking water right now because I worked out in the yard all damn day. Bill, that's false knock, man. You ain't getting knocked from pulling away from red light. You've got something. You got a bad engine mount. You got something, heat shield. You need to get in there and just start grabbing a hold of things and shaking the crap out of it and see if anything makes any noise. I was getting... Oh. You know what? I haven't heard from Randy, Sonoma. I have not heard from Randy. He was having some issues with tip-in going lean, but I think that he was having some fuel pressure stuff. And so he was going to go back and put a fuel pressure gauge in. RC, thoughts for idle speed for a cam, Gen 4 aluminum 6 square port cams, BTR blower cam. If it's a blower cam, I mean, I wouldn't idle it that low. Blower cam, is it... Hey, RC, is it set up for a roots blower or a centrifugal blower? Yeah, John, exactly. Hey, Tioga, welcome to the channel. Not done a video for 6L80s, but I'm going to do that real soon. So keep your eyes peeled on that one because I've been promising that one for a while now and I've been slacking. RC, I would bump that up, man. There's no reason to. Yeah, I mean, I would idle at like 750 or 800. It's a root. Yeah, you're definitely going to have to bring the idle up because you're going to have a lot of overlap on the bottom end then. Nick, well, it's transient fueling and it's very weird based on your platform. Remind me, what are you working with? Because if it's port injection, we're talking about spraying fuel. Spraying fuel against the cylinder wall or the runner walls of your intake manifold, but that's where generally the problem is. Yeah, Blake. So it's just, all it is you're just basically giving it a little bit of extra fuel because, okay, whenever you do tip in, there is fuel puddling on the intake manifold that will cause some weird stuff and can cause you to go rich or cause you to go lean. If there's not enough fuel, it is calculated the amount of fuel that should be puddled on your runners of your intake manifold. And so as you modify a vehicle and you get more out into the woods on it, you might have less pulling on the runners of your intake manifold. And then because of that, whenever you then go into wide open throttle, it's expecting that fuel that's puddled normally to evaporate off and help to go a little bit rich during tip in. But if it's not there, it won't. So you have to adjust the transient fuel temp. Nick, unit of measure for doing air is in hertz. You'll want to do the mass airflow sensor, but you'll also want to log your actual mass airflow, which is, pounds per hour is generally what we look at. But does that make sense to you guys on tip in? Same ordeal. There's a transient, basically a tip out, that will cause you to go a little bit rich, and you have to sometimes dial that in, but it's a little less of an issue. Tip out is. Tip in is more of an issue because you don't want to go lean. And as I said, Randy was having quite a lean spike. In fact, it was going like 15, 20%. What's up, Tony? I was wondering if you were going to make it on tonight. I have not gotten a chance to look at your other email, Tony. I've been doing yard work. Hey, Jacob, what's going on? Well, Nick, stick around. We're going to learn a lot more. Tony, you need to put it in the first O2 bunk. If you can get it before the cats, that is preferred. Adam, 3-bar turbo E85 car. Cold starts just fine. Warms up a little bit, cranks, fires off, then dies immediately. There, Adam, there is a table in there that's going to be probably airflow versus ECT. Dirt Floor's throwing out a smoky burnout here. Thank you, Dirt Floor. Adam, what car are you working on? Tell me specifically, and we will jump. We've not jumped over to the tune screen, so we'll pull up a version of it, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. What's causing this thing to cold start fine and then have issues once the car warms up. Dirt Floor, what kind of oil pan you going with on the next one? Yeah, Tony, if you put it after the cat, it will skew your reading. So you can calculate kind of an offset for it by using your long terms and seeing where they're at. But honestly, if I would just pull one of the front ones out because you're turning long term off anyways whenever you're doing your tuning, and put it up front. Yeah, James, I wouldn't. Your startup fueling whenever you're doing MAF only is often a different table. So you want to focus on get it up to temperature, and then focus on and by up to temperature, you'll know when it's up to temperature whenever your commanded is at stoic or 1 lambda, and then start logging from that point out. Oh, well, Adam, you didn't tell me that you're on a Mustang. Listen, Adam, you should have an airflow versus ECT underneath your startup, or a cranking airflow table. But being that it's a 92... Oh, well, you got a Gen 3 4.8. What's your pullout? Did you pull it out of a truck? You're throwing me curveballs. Come on, Dirt Floor, don't be scared. Go ahead and throw a dry sump system on that thing. Go big or go home. Dude, Nick, thank you. Have a sweet burnout here in the corner for you. Smoky burnouts all day long. Yeah, Smith. That's a good one. There's a lot of people that have issues with that. I know that you got it out of a junkyard, Adam. Don't be a smart ass. What was the platform was it in? Was it in a Silverado? Ah, thanks, Josh. Man, we're just getting all kinds of smoky burnouts all of a sudden. Appreciate it, guys. I do. Well, you guys make it worthwhile. I enjoy it. We get 60 people out here hanging out. Yeah, well, Tony, you need to know if there's unused fuel because that means you're running rich. That's why. That's the whole point of having your wideband is to let you know. Oh, hey, Wallace. I was wondering where you were at. Slacker, running late. Let me see if I can find something comparable here, Adam. This is true, Josh. This is true. Ah, thank you, Blake. Appreciate it, bud. 2000 Silverado. Okay, I got a 2001 Firebird here. Ah, sorry, Elijah. We'll catch you next time, man. Thanks for stopping by again, though. Nick, I mount mine around the factory location of the front ones. Okay, let's see here. There's more stuff going on here than I thought. Bingo. Is there a crank on these older ones? Do you guys know? Let's see here. Cranking VE. Okay, let's jump over to the tune screen, guys. Oh, John, that's a good idea. Sup was saying that there's actually something that you can just disable it like DOD. Okay, Adam. You are going to have a couple things to look at here. Well, no, this one's not it. Let's look under idle, under airflow here, and then under your base running airflow. You see this? This table here, Adam? This is the one that I'm talking about where this is dialing in your airflow based on your temperature. So if you are having no issues with cold start and that thing's set to 11, try making that thing 11 all the way across the board there and see if that works for you. Okay? So you're looking for something in the idle, and then there might be one of the airflow tables also under cranking. That shouldn't do it. Yeah, none of these should really do it. So I would just focus on that idle table. What's going on, Michelle Garcia? Welcome to the channel. Never, Nick. Nothing but Chevys for life. Are you doing your own cage, Durfloor? Because you better do a series on that. Man, I tell you guys, I'm going to sleep like a baby. Literally, as soon as this law or this thing shuts down, I'm just going. Dude, Colton, something weird is going on with your setup. Oh, thanks, Chris. I appreciate it, man. Showing everybody. Look at all this. You guys, you're killing me with your kindness here. I appreciate it, guys. Oh, hey, PCM Cobra. We'll see you next week. Oh my goodness, guys. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Where are we at here? Global, you going to SEMA this year? I have not been to SEMA since 2005, I think it was the last time I went to SEMA. If you can believe that. Dude, Colton, we need to figure something out. Send me some pictures of your setup, Colton. Send me pictures of how you got things wired. Let's double check everything. I'm wondering if your gauge is not bad. That's what I'm worried about the serial output on your gauge not being working. There you go, Lynn. Now you're talking. I read a very interesting book. John, what is that? Connecticut Agricultural Expo? Are you going to go do the tractor stuff where you back tractors with implements up through the obstacle course? I read a book that was about the founding of General Motors. Really interesting book. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. It was... God, I'm so tired. I can't remember, but... It was talking about, how General Motors came to be and all the Ford stuff and General Motors stuff that was going on back in the teens, 20s, and 30s, and how the guy that had founded General Motors lost it to the banks, and then so he went out and founded Chevrolet, and then used Chevrolet to get General Motors back. It's pretty cool. Dude, that's awesome, Dirtfloor. I'll be anxious to watch that. Yeah, Colton, if it's sending data, I don't know what the voltage offset is for data. Were you reading it from the blue wire to the black wire? Because that seems to indicate that there's no data being sent on your serial bus. You shouldn't be seeing a lot. Well, it's serial, not analog. But you should still be seeing some fluctuation because it is communicating. Shane, you can get to the website. Probably the easiest way is just go to goatropegarage.com. And there's a link to the YouTube homepage for the channel on there that has all the playlists and stuff. So, in fact, I'll tell you what. Let me pop open a window here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, Colton, you may have a bad... man, this thing looks like crap. Why is it all scaled out wrong? There we go. Oh, because it thinks this is on a mobile platform. There we go. If you go to goatropegarage.com, there's a link to the YouTube right here, and it'll take you straight up to, well, to this. So, and then you can go to the playlist and see all the playlists. Yeah, Colton, you're right. It should fluctuate. You should see not a whole lot of fluctuation, but if it is communicating, there will be some voltage shifts on there to indicate whenever the bits are changing from 0 to 1, basically. So I'm guessing that your output on your gauge is bad. Did you get it from Amazon? I don't know, Nick. If the Project Gen 4 funding, if we end up getting that thing to go through, which we still have like 2 months, I'm not going to be able to choose. The people that donate get to choose. Blake, for a tablet style, I use the Microsoft Surface Pro. And I'm using the first generation Surface Pro. My mouse is acting stupid here. So anything after the first generation Surface Pro, just make sure that it's running real Windows. Colt, you should be able to send it back then. Call them up, tell them that a portion of it's not working. Amazon's pretty good about stuff like that. I agree, Josh. If the crowdfunding thing doesn't work out, and I have to go out and buy a car, it'll probably be a Camaro or a Corvette. I really like the C6 Corvettes, but they're basically the same thing. Well, Nicholas, there's plenty of information out there that'll cover the 6th gen. I've done videos. I've got a 5th generation platform. That's what the Silverado is. Really, Global? I had not heard that. Thanks for the heads out, because heads up, I was thinking about looking at one of their dual wideband gauges. Hey, Mike, I appreciate it, man. Welcome to the channel. Yeah, correct, Josh. 4th gen engine, 5th gen Camaro. Dude, I was surprised to hear about that also, Nick. But, you know. Oh, hey, thanks, Shane. Appreciate it, man. Have a smoky ass burnout here in the corner. Michael is squeezing in here in the last 10 minutes. Welcome back, brother. Nick, does the newest Surface Go work? Okay. Yeah, you know, the only thing, I love AEM stuff. I love AEM stuff. Don't get me wrong. And that's what I use predominantly. I wish they had a little more options. I like the fact that Innovate does have the options of outputting narrowband signals. No, Colton, you shouldn't have to read it in millivolts. Ryan, I've not heard of that happening. And never had that issue on my Corvette. Ooh. You think, Global, you think that the Innovates are made in China now? No, Nick, the reason for changing up the logo is the old logo was too complicated. So you couldn't, you know. It's a lot easier with the new logo to do merchandise and stuff like that. Yeah, keep dreaming. I don't want to have to work on a C8. Tiago, it should. Yeah. Because the wideband's still going to be the same. Still going to be the same output signal from it. So, Sean, does HP Tuners do anything with cylinder volume? Yeah, I mean, depending on the platform, there's cylinder volume settings in there. It's generally under the general tab. You can adjust your cylinder volume there. Now, not all platforms, Sean, that has cylinder volume uses cylinder volume for any of the calculations on there. So keep that in mind. Hey, thanks, Nick, for stopping by. Keep that in mind. that cylinder volume does not necessarily update any of the fueling stuff, because people used to, back in the day on injector scaling, think that you could have your injector scaling and adjust your cylinder volume to make it up, and it would not work properly. Christopher says that he has used wideband boost controller combos on 3 builds and had trouble with all 3. So, man, it's good to know. I appreciate it, Michael. No problem, man. We got 2 months. Yeah, well, that's true, Lynn. About everything's China made. Nick, you need to get me a contact with AEM. I keep on reaching out for them. Yeah, the Silverados went to direct injected in 2014. That's why I run methanol injection. Okay, gentlemen, it is 8:52. So we are going to start the wrap-up section. We will answer 1 or 2 more questions. But in the meantime, I'm going to say thank you to all the new subscribers. We have broken 5,100 already. We broke 5,000 this week. Mind blown as usual. You guys are amazing. Man, I'm telling you, I'm sorry for being so tired. I usually try not to do stuff after work on Thursdays. First Daddy, the last Scoob that I did was a Blob Eye STI. So what year was those? I don't even remember. 2006 maybe? Thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to all the thumbs up. Check out the Patreon down below. Even better, check out pg4car.com and consider jumping on the bandwagon. Every single tier of that is getting some kind of merchandise, and I think I'm going to bump it up. So there's a good chance that everybody that does the crowdfunding will get additional stuff in on top of the stuff that's already listed out on the tier. But the lowest tier, you know, for $10 you get a decal and a signed thank you and stuff like that. And then just after that, everything goes up. There's a lot of opportunity. I tried to make it worthwhile, where if you pitch in on the crowdfund, we hit our goal. You know, you'll get hats, t-shirts, things that'll make it almost like you're not spending money except for buying merch. And as I said, there might be some additional merch that I throw in there for all levels. So make sure and check out pg4car.com. And please, please do not get offended if you hear me talking about that a lot in the next 2 months, because that is the drive for the next 2 months to try and get that project funded. But as always, I want to thank everybody for stopping by the live show on Thursday night. Man, this is awesome. You know, we broke 60 and maintained 60 almost the entire night, which is awesome. So, yeah, everybody, ABT, always be tuning. Keep your eyes peeled for this weekend. Might be an impromptu. I got to find out when. So, but as I said, ABT, we will see you guys next Thursday for sure. Everybody have a great night. Yeah, Nick, I'll come down to Florida sometime. That's the last question I'm answering. See you guys later.